It's been nearly 4 years since the January 6th Capitol riot, and a new DOJ Watchdog report reveals how involved the FBI was that day. But how the Inspector General's report is being reported by the media looks a lot different depending on the news outlet's political bias. Left-leaning news outlets are focusing in on one statistic from the report, while news outlets on the right are highlighting another. CNN, no undercover FBI agents were at the January 6th U.S. Capitol riot. Politico, FBI didn't deploy undercover agents on January 6, undercutting conspiracy theories. Fox News, 26 FBI informants were present on January 6. The New York Post, FBI had 26 informants at January 6 Capitol riots, and most were involved. The Inspector General found both of these things to be true in its report, that there were no undercover agents or people employed by the FBI, but there were roughly 24 FBI informants or confidential human sources who report intelligence back to the Bureau. Of the 26 informants, according to the report, the FBI instructed 3 of them to go to the Capitol, most of the rest of them going on their own accord. 4 informants entered the Capitol building, one of whom was assigned by the FBI to be there, and 13 entered restricted grounds. News outlets on the left are largely reporting this new finding debunks conspiracy theories regarding the FBI having been involved or instigated the riot, while news outlets on the right are largely reporting it offering substance to claims of the FBI being present in the crowd that day. Here's how Politico started their report. A Justice Department watchdog found no evidence that the FBI deployed undercover agents to the Capitol or nearby protests on January 6, 2021, further undercutting debunked conspiracy theories about the riot being instigated by law enforcement. This in contrast to the New York Post coverage, writing the FBI had at least 26 confidential informants on the ground in Washington, D.C. during the January 6, 2021 storming of the Capitol, most of whom engaged in illegal activity during the chaos. Leadership at the Bureau had long been adamant that it did not have sources who orchestrated the riot. Questions about whether the FBI had informants involved in the riots were met with conspiracy theory labels by many mainstream media outlets. Differences in how left and right media interpreted the Inspector General's report was also evident in their broadcasts.
The FBI had 26 confidential human sources there that day. 26. A confidential human source is a guy the FBI pays to spy for them. They're just freelancing for the feds. Rats in MAGA hats.
There were no undercover FBI employees at the Capitol during the riot.
This finding runs directly counter to speculation from allies of President-elect Donald Trump, who for years have suggested the violence that day was provoked by federal agents.
And both MSNBC and Fox took swings at the other side's interpretation of the report.
Yeah, as soon as I saw the numbers that were reflected in the report, I just think that this is definitely something that we're going to see a lot of the right-wing media run with. That number is certainly going to raise a lot of concerns, I think, on the right, and that's something that we've seen some Republicans in Congress really zero in on, this notion that this was all driven by these confidential human sources. And to be clear, what they say is that there's zero evidence whatsoever that any of these individuals who, even those who did enter the Capitol, were being instructed to do anything by the FBI. That was just something that they did on their own.
The media today is cherry picking the report to say there were no undercover agents there on January 6th. The whole thing's a conspiracy. These aren't articles, they're FBI press releases.
While the Inspector General's report was meant to clarify the FBI's involvement on January 6, it has done little to resolve the political divide over the events of that day. The debate over January 6 continues to fuel division in American politics and media. Thanks for watching our news update. Hey, if you like this report, you can find other stories like it, comparing media coverage and biases by downloading our Straight Arrow News app or visit us online at san.com.